Hello and happy holidays. Welcome to our MAPS holiday calls. We're so excited to have you here today. My name is Kimberly Guiry. I'm a Keller Williams MAPS performance coach. I also have the honor to lead the MAPS Life Coach division, and I'm also the community leader for KW Wellness. And those three roles have in common is I coach agents and leadership to lead big businesses and purpose-filled lives. I'm excited to join you today as we talk about how to stay focused and motivated during the holidays. We know that this can be a very, very busy time, and it can mean a lot of different things to different people. This can be a really joyous time, and for some, it could also be one of the more challenging times of the year. So Tyler Elstrom and I are here today to help you stay focused and motivated through the holidays to take care of your mindset, your mental, your emotional health, your physical health, and to give you some strategies about your business too. I'd like to introduce you to my co-host today, Tyler Elstrom, a fellow MAPS coach and the leader of the KW ADHD group. Good
Hey,
morning, Tyler.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me collaborate with you. My name's Tyler Elstrom. I used to run a team that was in the top 100 in the world for Keller Williams, and then I moved to a full-time MAPS coach with Keller Williams now for almost 6 years. And I also super excited about this and why I'm so happy to be here. I founded and I run the KW ADHD community that started this year that has an incredible group of people in here. And so thank you for having me, and I'll throw in a little bit of ADHD spice as we go through the call today.
I love that. Spices. I'm looking forward to it. Well, let's begin. Ina, if you could share our presentation for today, please. And as we mentioned, we are talking about how to stay focused and motivated during the holiday season. Again, my name is Kimberly Guiry, and I'm here with my co-host, Tyler Elstrom. Tyler was so clever for us to create this acronym that we can focus on for this holiday season, the gifts. We all have inherent gifts. We all have talent. And playing on the season, we're using gifts today to help you get through this season focused, motivated, and energized. GIFT stands for G, get real, I, intentionality, F, to free yourself from distractions, T is your time block, and S is your self-care. So let's begin with the G. We know that when we look at the holidays, there's so much going on. It's almost like a rush to the finish. We're looking to get our schedules taken care of. We're looking to hit our goals. We've got to do holiday shopping. There's places we have to be, people expecting us to be places, or we might be the host. And I don't know if you're anything like me, at this time of the year, the days just don't seem to have enough hours in them. And there's an attempt to rush to get everything through. This is why we want to get real. Because when we have the opportunity to get real, it gives us two opportunities. One, what am I able to handle? What am I capable of putting on my plate right now? And the other option is, what can I say no to? So one way we look at it is, how have I been feeling all year? Have I been running myself ragged? Haven't taken enough breaks? Or am I feeling energized and excited and cannot wait for the next few weeks to turn into the new year? We start with gauging our overall wellness. Then we decide, how can I manage my energy? And we look at this from eating well, getting a good night's sleep, meditation, morning movement. We look at ways to move our body to help calm our mind. And the more that we put our wellness as a priority, the easier it is to actually stay motivated. When we put ourselves first, we're not pouring from an empty cup, we're pouring from a full cup. And it allows us the opportunity then to decide, where do I want to give my energy, instead of others making that choice for you. So when we think about this, I'm going to ask you to do a body scan. Think about where you are right now, physically, head to toe. Do a scan of your body. What's your mind thinking right now? Where are your thoughts? Where's your body? Are you fidgeting, moving around? Are you very still? Are you here in this presentation with Tyler and myself? Or are there distractions going around? When we get really calm and centered and check in with ourselves, which is what we just did, it's going to tell you where your focus is. And when you have clear identity of where your focus is, you get to pick and choose how you spend your time, which takes us to the I in gifts, intentionality. Intentionality is when we have choice. We take a conscious, clear effort as to where we're going to spend our time, exert our energy, and even better yet, who we're going to spend our time with. We know that the holidays can be a time where sometimes some people might show up in our world that we may not gain energy from. I trust no one on here has anyone like that in their life. Yet some people do have what we call energy vampires. We want to ensure that we are spending time balanced, spending time with people and activities that fill us up. And when we are in situations, be it with clients, families, friends who take away from us, that we're limiting that activity. So we do that by using our schedule. We have 3 weeks left, or 2 weeks left now of the year. What days will you be taking off? And what days will you focus solely on your business? When you are off, how can you be on for your family and friends and off from your business? We're going to learn about ways to actually set those boundaries a little bit later in today's presentation. Sometimes we have a feeling called guilt when we take time off. But one way to do this is to balance your day. Start with a quick work activity, then move into your personal activities. If you're on vacation, it can be so hard to leave your business behind. We know that. And yet, one way you can do it is allow yourself 30 minutes each morning. Check into the business before you enjoy the rest of your day. It takes away that pressure, it takes away that feeling. You can even add another 30 minutes at the end of your day, just to check in. It's not to get engaged and to get sucked in. It's only to be able to see what's going on. So you then have the opportunity to determine what's important, what's urgent, and what can wait. And you'd be surprised how many things can wait. Let's go on to the F, Tyler.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just sitting here. I mean, why this matters so much, and as a coach for almost 6 years now, your wellness and how well you've ate and slept and all those things, those will then show up as to how well you can sell and your self-discipline or whether you can do the things you need to do. And so this directly can correlate to business as well as just enjoying your life. And as we move to the F, free yourself from distractions. I asked to take this one, running KW ADHD, because this is a common thing that can come up if you have ADHD and if you don't, right? And one of the things that they talk about with ADHD is that studies show we have 10 times the amount of thoughts as someone who doesn't have ADHD. And so it's not only freeing yourself from the distractions externally, it could also be eliminating different things that are going to create, 5 thought patterns. So then you can have this incredible ability of hyper focus. And whether you have ADHD or not, this can still apply. And so by really zeroing your focus and making sure notifications are off and your phone is on silent unless it feels urgent, and having certain days to call clients back is really helpful too. Instead of, this wonderful dopamine creating machine that we have in our hand, right? This little computer, by kind of limiting that and putting some boundaries around it, we can really lock into that hyper focus ability that those with ADHD really have as well. Putting a sign on your office, some funny ones. Some people have wrote, unless the building's on fire, don't disturb me. Or, if you knock on the door between 9 to 1 p.m. and it's not an emergency, that's $10 at KW Cares. And so you can also make it fun as well. Using noise canceling headphones, sometimes we don't realize how the brain power that takes from like filtering other stimulus out. And so if you're in an office and you have a wall and you can kind of hear your coworker, that can tax your brain just a little bit. And so getting noise canceling headphones, if you have sensory stuff like I do, or anybody else, that can help. And then setting a timer and not looking at your email or your phone until the timer goes off. Again, we want to lean into that hyper focus ability where you're doing one thing really, really well versus what's really easy to do is jumping to all those urgent things. And that's really the first part is the F. And then we can move to the T for time block. So with the time blocking, and what's important with this, especially as a coach, is what works for you. You don't have to do it a certain way. You need to do it the way that really works for you. And setting a clear start and end time to your workday and honoring that can be huge. And it might be that you're the person that does really well sleeping until 8 a.m. and going from 10 to 7. Or it might be that you really feel good if you get up at 5 a.m. And so one of the things we talk about, especially with ADHD, is learning to work with your brain instead of against it, and not doing things the way you think you're supposed to do it, doing it the way that really works with who you are and how you're wired. Spending 30 minutes at the end of the day choosing priorities for the next day. It's kind of like, packing your lunch and choosing your outfit for your kid, if you have a kid or a nephew, or and having that ready. And when they get up in the morning and their book bag's ready and their food's ready and their clothes are ready, how different of a day is that kid going to have versus rushing in the morning and figure out what they need to do, those kind of stuff. So it's just like almost self-care. I know we're not in the S yet, and really choosing what you're going to do, and here's the task, is going to help you get into the workflow way faster. Work on one thing at a time, getting a to-do list and kind of prioritizing that. That's something, again, somebody like myself with ADHD can be a little bit harder for us. And so doing it on paper is helpful. And then the Pomodoro technique, which is you set a timer, it's 25 minutes of work and then 5 minutes of a break. And you kind of repeat. Because I don't know if there's anybody else who has forgot to drink water or eat at some point, right, in their career. And so that's going to help you just pause, and it's going to be more sustainable than this huge marathon that I know a lot of us have done, myself included. There's a better way. And then protecting scheduled time off like you would protect a scheduled listing appointment. And that's, again, prioritizing your wellness is what's going to make this sustainable. And by setting an appointment and then honoring that and not moving that, what you'll find is by setting those boundaries, other people are going to respect those more than you would think. And it's going to maintain your sanity, really, right? And then saying no, thank you to what's on your schedule and not overcommitting. Another thing, and again, here's the ADHD spice that we're seeing, is that a lot of us can be people pleasers and just very altruistic and want to help a lot of people. And it can be a little bit harder to say no. And when you say yes to one thing, you say no to something else. And so if the goal is to be motivated and focused over the holidays, and you've got all these commitments because you can't say no, that's going to pull away from what you're doing. And so think, and Guiry talks about this, when you say yes to one thing, you say no to something else. And so what are you saying no to by saying yes to this thing that maybe isn't aligned with your business, doesn't support your goals, and maybe there's another way to do it. And so saying no, thank you to that is the next piece.
So good. And I love that it's no thank you, Tyler, that we say no thank you.
I stole that from you.
Well, and so when we look at our gifts, there is an S to it. You mentioned it earlier. It's our self-care.
Yeah.
In the KW wellness community, we often say that self-care is the sixth job of a real estate agent. If you're familiar with BOLD, we know we lead generate, lead follow-up, go on appointments, conversation practice and role play, negotiate contracts. The sixth job is self-care. When we take care of ourselves, it's going to help take care of everything else. Those on our team, those in our market center, those in our client roster, our family, our friends. Taking care of ourselves is not selfish, it is actually self-love. Because when we feel really good about ourselves and our mindsets in a place that supports us, it's incredible the amount of motivation and focus that can be gained when we are in a good place. So we start with one easy tactic: get daily movement, even if it's 15 minutes. Get up, walk around. I encourage you, even after this call, go for a little 15-minute walk in your neighborhood and around your market center. Do circles around your desk if you have to. That movement is good for your mind, it's good for your body, it's really good for your brain.
Yeah, it's the movement piece is so important because again, a lot of us with ADHD, and again, this can apply to the part of the brain that's responsible for executing on tasks or being able to focus or prioritizing, all those pieces can develop a little bit differently. And so know that when you do exercise, studies show it kind of lights up that part of the brain and engages it. So if you don't have ADHD, going for a walk is going to help you absolutely, right? Because I've learned about that, whether you have ADHD or not. And if you do have ADHD, you definitely want to get a walk in because it's one of the most effective things that they talk about. And then also is that focus on getting good nutrients and healthy solid meals. We might have a little bit more sugar, right? There's treats, there's holiday stuff going on. If you counterbalance that with good food and good meals, you're gonna be able to recover more quickly than if you eat just junk and don't feel good. If you got the other nutrients, it'll help a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Your diet is fuel. We look at food as fuel. And so we want to be really conscious about what are we entering into our body. It is great. There's all the sugary treats, there's desserts, there's some of our favorite meals and some of our favorite food that shows up around this time of the year. Key is don't go overboard. Everything in moderation. This includes not just food and drink, it's technology, the social media, the scrolling, anything that takes away from your physical, mental, or emotional well-being, we want to highlight and then put a limit around what are you able to consume that's not going to have you feeling lethargic, feeling cranky, feeling unmotivated, and worse, not feeling 100% about how you feel about yourself. So we want to just, instead of going overboard, manage and create limits.
Yeah, and the other piece we talked about too, and we were kind of creating this, is also giving yourself grace if you indulge a little bit too much. I don't know if there's anybody else who identifies as a perfectionist or really wants to do the best, and even with best intentions, sometimes we find that that doesn't happen. And when you beat yourself up, right, what does that do to your energy? It just totally takes it down, and then now you might try to self-soothe and do other things or things. And so giving yourself grace can really be the thing, instead of beating yourself up, that actually kind of stops the habits that aren't as great because you're not trying to do other stuff. And so yeah, if you do that, don't beat yourself up. And again, it doesn't have to be extreme. We can also kind of sometimes be black and white thinkers, or all or nothing, right? I either eat clean perfectly through the holidays, or man, I messed it up, it's over, right? I'm either going to work out every day and do this and this, or shoot, I did it, now it's all done. And so finding that gray area is a really healthy area to be. And then it doesn't have this start and stop type pattern.
Tyler, as you were saying that, it reminds me of when we look at our business sources. It's very rare that we only have one business source. We have multiple, anywhere, as Guiry tells us, 3 to 5 key sources of business. It's the same thing. You might have one area that you're doing really well in, and that could be your fitness. And then there might be other places that you get off track and overindulge through food or drink. It's okay. Acknowledge it. And then look at those other sources of where might I be able to make a different decision the next day. So it's more balanced. This is also going to help you recognize your stress triggers and learn to manage them. And that can be through exercise, meditation, journaling, or even just taking a break. Sometimes stopping is the best way to regroup, and regain your energy back.
And lastly, I'm going to talk about the acronym INCUP with us. So we have do something that daily that brings you joy. And what we found, again, for those with and without ADHD, is there are 5 things that really can kind of create joy for a lot of us, or dopamine, really. And the 5 things that they've shown with studies that light up an ADHD brain, which again, you can use this either way, is the acronym INCUP, and it stands for interesting, new, challenging, urgent, and passion. Interesting, new, challenging, urgent, and passion. These are the 5 things that studies show really light up an ADHD brain and can create dopamine. So anybody, it might be a little bit easier to do things. And when you get your life into things that are interesting and challenging and about passion, all of a sudden you don't need as much motivation and willpower to do things. And so by getting your business and your life into INCUP, interesting, new, challenging, urgent, and passion, that's where you really can feel rejuvenated and fill your cup. And that's really what life is about, right? It's just being in your joy zone. About the INCUP, interesting, new, challenging, urgent, passion. And we're going to go to this slide next. This is in KWADHD community, if you like that. So yeah, it's interesting, new, challenging, urgent, and passion. Interesting, new, challenging, urgent, and passion. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Kimberly. Yep. So yeah, we want to enjoy our lives and love it, not just hit some huge production goal because it makes us feel like we're doing it, but then we didn't enjoy the whole year up to it, and our health is bad, and we don't feel good, and we don't have good relationships. It's better to focus on you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, those are the gifts. We have just shared the 5 gifts to help you navigate this holiday season. Get real, intentionality, focus,
Free yourself from distraction. Same
free
thing.
yourself from, sorry.
No,
I'm a
same
coach.
thing.
I'm a coach. I like to,
Why did we
I
use
like to
focus?
convince.
Why did we use that? Free yourself from distractions. Why did I do that? Focus. Duh. Okay.
There we are.
Next
Focus.
year.
Next year. T for time block, S for self-care. Those are your gifts. You can learn more about wellness and more about ADHD. Absolutely. We'll be happy to recap those. We're going to put up our QR codes. That's information. And so let's recap for the community. Get real. To get real, that is to, 1, assess your capabilities. We want to acknowledge the season, acknowledge how we feel about the season, our emotions, our mindset. Get clear with what we can and cannot do. We want to create boundaries around what takes away from us, going back to that joy, and do more of what you enjoy doing inside of your joy zone. And that can be through work activities, lead generation activities, spending time with family. We get real by assessing the situation and acknowledging what's in my control. What can I not control? What am I attempting to control that's not mine to control? And what would it feel like if I controlled only what I am able to control? It's a key part of getting real. Tyler, how would you summarize intentionality?
Well, I think really kind of what we talked about at the end, just it's, some people use the word, I need to get disciplined, I need all this stuff. And really, when we shift the word to intentionality, it's instead of, going away from what you don't want, it's about going towards what you do want. And that's how I would sum up intentionality. We want you to go towards what you do want, which is proactively choosing that versus being at the mercy and not setting boundaries. I mean, that's the same with free yourself from distractions, right? It's really about intentionality and choosing what you do want, which is to focus on what's the priority. And again, time blocking, T for time blocking. We really want to set clear start and end times to the day and prioritize what we're doing and give ourselves breaks and do a really good job with that. And then, self-care, I'll hand to you, Kimberly.
Absolutely. And self-care comes back to that, putting ourselves first. It is that ability to say yes, which we so often forget to do. We say yes to everyone else in our lives, to our clients, to our business. We sometimes forget to say yes to ourselves. By putting yourself first, you're putting yourself in a position to make clearer decisions, to come from contribution and not feel obligated to say yes or no. It removes the feeling of guilt of having to do and be and say all the right things and be all the places, because you're taking care of yourself first. The key to being focused and motivated is to check in with you. And there's a very powerful question that you can always ask yourself. In this moment, what is it that I need most? And that question alone can help guide you and navigate you towards where your next action should be. And it's okay if it's a rest. It's okay if it's a break. We want to ensure that we balance it and time block and say, well, if I'm going to take this afternoon off and sit and watch holiday movies and drink hot cocoa, great. Then tomorrow, how will I ensure that my business is moving forward? When you create the balance, you're not missing out on anything. You're actually enjoying all 7 circles of life. And that is connected to your joy. We'd love to answer any questions that you might have in the chat or come off of mute.
As
Yeah, I
we're
think
waiting, oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
that's okay. I was gonna say, I think what this this chat together really does is really gives us permission. I think as you were talking, I could exhale. I could feel a calm and a peace about, yeah, you know what? The gift I'm going to give myself this season, what regardless of what I celebrate, the gift is going to be just that peace and calm. So I thank you for hosting this today. It was something that I didn't think I needed, and yet I know that I needed. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. You. Well, Kelly said it so wonderfully. Whatever you celebrate, take care of yourself first. That is the biggest gift that you can give yourself, not just in this season, any day, any time of the year. So as you're starting to think about your goals for 2024, Tyler and I invite you to consider how will you use your gifts and keep self-care, focus, intentionality, time blocking as part of your everyday routine. We've added our information to the chat. We're available anytime if you have any ideas, questions, or want to further this conversation. We look forward to seeing you. Feel free to reach out and have a very happy, healthy holiday season. Be well.